Got it. Resume. You are all being recorded, my ladies. Okay, so I was just saying, while we're waiting for everyone to come in, it is Sunday morning, so everyone's getting their coffee and I get my coffee now too, ladies, because now that I'm 50, I'm a coffee drinker. Did I start at 50 or 51, Patrick? 50. I'm a coffee drinker.
Why did you wait so long?
I thought I did. You know what? Because it would make me kind of sick. I don't know. It make my tummy not feel good. So now I don't drink a lot of coffee. Most of this I think is like milk, and I literally will drink this all day. I start in the morning and I finish it at like 8 p.m. So I nurse it. Otherwise, I don't know why. It wasn't my thing, but I love it now.
Welcome to our world.
And I didn't know you can make it so yummy with all these different creamers. And my parents always drink their coffee black, maybe a little sugar. And so I didn't know it could be so amazing. And Patrick's the best barista ever.
Do you want me to turn this around so you can
Yes.
see the Facebook?
Well, yes. I want to see everything. Can you put it right here in front of me? Here. All right. So make sure your fabric is pressed. I did this morning. This is the leftovers of that jelly roll pack. That jelly roll I had sewed my strips together, sewed these together, and I pressed my seams open because it gets bulky. It gets bulky in this spot right here. This is, if you're going to break a needle, it's going to be right here. This is what is going to get you. So also make sure you have a 9014 needle. I like the 9014 better. I did switch to 116 when I was breaking right here. So, because I feel like the 116 was loud. It was like da-dunk, da-dunk, da-dunk. So my 9014, if you can get away with the 9014, just know you might break a needle in this project, and that's okay. That happens sometimes. So, have 116 ready if you need it. I think I even did it. I think I did most of this with my 8012 Microtex, and then I bumped up because I was having a little bit of, I broke a needle coming through here. So have your fabric ready and pressed. This is what I'm going to do with one of mine, and then my other one. And we're not starting yet, ladies. If you're just joining in, I'm just talking. We're just doing coffee talk, Sunday morning coffee talk. It's coffee talk. Yeah.
Should we cut these out already?
We're not cutting. Nope. All I want you to have is your fabric pressed. I don't want you to even have it cut out yet, because I'm going to show you how I do it. And of course, you don't have to do it like me, but I was whipping them up, and you do not have to. You do not have. I don't want you to have it sewn together yet. So these are my fat quarters. I just went ahead this morning and I'm using, which is so cute. This is Grace. That's Grace's Moda's, one of their newer fat quarter packs. And I literally just press this corner right here because that's where I'm going to put my batting. That's where I'm going to lay it down. So you don't have to have the whole thing pressed. You can if you want, but I just do what I need for that time. And I am just continuing to add ladies in. Maybe you could monitor the Facebook.
Well, I'm gonna go do my work.
Yes, Patrick.
So you're getting simultaneously too high and too low stream resolution notifications in Facebook. So, I mean, the video stream.
My IT guy is talking to me right now.
The video stream looks good from this end, like the insights, like everything looks to be smooth, but you might want to let people know if they're on Facebook and they have the option to be on Zoom.
To be on Zoom.
Essentially, like Zoom is going to be the cleaner of the two.
I did not even tell the ladies that Facebook was an option.
We told them that over and over and over again. Though on the live streams, we said we were going to simulcast. So you've got like 7 or 8 people.
Are they on there?
Logged in. Just remember, it's not a touch screen. You've got 5 people watching now. But you know, they can comment here, but you just may want to let people know if they have the option of logging into Zoom, it's going to be a
Okay, did you hear that, ladies? Zoom's going to look better. So Zoom's going to look better, and you can interact with me on Zoom. Does this mean, Patrick, can you open up that one so I can see the Zoom screen? Like I can't, if you're going to leave this on Facebook.
Hang on, we'll split screen.
I'm going to mute you for just a second here, lady.
What?
It's time, lady. So we're going to have a lot of ladies in here. Some of you are watching later. I will send you a recording of this video later on. Just letting people in right now. If you do not know me, I'm Jeannie, because we have a lot of people that are, I saw a lot of names of people I've never met before. So I just want to say hi. And then I'm going to go back to my front camera. Okay, perfect,
Comments
Patrick.
are here. Zoom is here. Remember, it's not a touch screen.
Okay, I am going to, whoops. I was trying not to show you my, my mess. Just trying to frame it so you wouldn't see the mess in here. I kind of shoved it off to the side. Let me make sure everyone who wants to be in is in, and then we are going to get started. I am going to mute you for this. If you have a question, you can unmute and then remute again. If you forget to mute, I might remute you. So you might be muted and you might not know it. But just to make sure that it doesn't get too crazy loud in here. And what we're going to be doing today is we are going to be doing these jelly roll. Well, I'm going to do a jelly roll one, and then I'm going to do one that's just going to be regular fabric. I'm just using fat quarter packets. So I have this. Here's Christine's, because I accidentally put her name on this and she wanted the templates. So with this packet, you get 8 of these, and 4 of you, and you need 2 for each one. So you can make 4 of these. So this came from 1 packet. So you don't make 8 with them. You need 2 for each one. 1 for the top part and 1 for the back part. I love this project because it's scrappy. And so I was able to just kind of sew together all my leftover scraps from, I think this was Starflower Moda. And then, hang on, was that somebody trying to join? Let me check on them. And, you know, Patrick's got me on so many different devices now. The best way, if you want to say something, is to unmute. Just unmute, ask your questions. If you don't know how to do that, on your screen right here, there's going to be an unmute and mute button. This is the Zoom screen. I think you can also hold your space bar, ask your question, release, and then it'll remute you again. So you have a couple different ways of doing that. Okay. All right, back to this. First one I'm going to do is I'm just going to do the whole cloth one, not the jelly roll one, because I did cut out for 2 of these. I'm going to take this out. If you have a template, or if you're interested in getting a template, what's nice about the template is it's this nice plastic. It says jelly roll. You don't have to use it for a jelly roll. You can just use it on your batting. And if you're going to do this, I'm just going to show you in case you want to get one. They are sold out. I get them from a place, the place that puts them out, Gypsy Quilter. They're sold out until February. So if you want to get one, you can order it online. Just know that you are not going to get it until probably the middle of February. So, one side, it drags a little bit more, but what you're going to do is you're just going to put it down on here. So you don't have to buy the batting this way. If you want, you could just get a template, use your own batting, but you are going to want to, you're going to want to get batting that's 100% cotton. Everything that you're using today should be 100% cotton unless you are not putting it in the microwave. If you're putting it in the, I'm sorry, if you're putting in the microwave, it has to be 100% cotton. If you're not putting in the microwave, then who cares? But you know, for me, I don't put mine in the microwave. I actually put my bowl in the microwave, and then I bring this over and I drag my bowl and drag it into my bowl cozy. And that's how I do it. But a lot of people will put their bowl in here first and then put in the microwave and zap it. So that's why you need 100% cotton. So if you are using the template, you are just going to trace around the outside of the template right onto your batting, and you know, it kind of drags a little. I like to just use a Sharpie because I can see it best. And then you are going to make sure that you do this part too, and he doesn't even fit in there. I need a finer tip Sharpie. I have another marking tool here. I'm going to go ahead and mute somebody. Mute all. Mute all. So you can use your finer tip, and you know, you have to find the right thing that's going to show up. But when you go to cut it out, you're just going to cut around the outside. You do not have to worry. Oh, there's my marking tool. Hang on. You do want to mark in these little V's. So you want to mark in these, but you're not going to cut them out. Okay. So mark around the whole thing. Let me let somebody else in. Mark around the whole thing. And then you're just going to cut out the outside. Do not cut here. This is just a sew line. All right. I'm going to put this to the side because I'm not going to be using this right now. But you could trace out a whole bunch of these and use all of your scraps. We are going to actually be working with our bowl cozy batting that's pre-cut by Gypsy Quilter. So what I like to do, and I don't use spray adhesive or anything with this, I'm going to go ahead and grab 2 of these. Or if you want to grab your 4, and we can sew all of these and then trim them all at the same time, that'll be good. So here's our cotton, wrong side. I just like to take this and lay it down, and it's batting against your fabric. So I don't want to say it's grippy, but it doesn't really move. I just lay it down like that, and I'm going to sew it. We are going to sew for this. We're going to sew from corner to corner here. We're going to sew corner to corner here. And we're going to do that with this one. And then I'm going to put it on this one too. So we can lay it out right now, and then we can just grab them and sew. And I don't mark it. I just eyeball it. I just pick a corner here and I eyeball and sew to here. But if you're not good at eyeballing, let's mark it. Who's not good at eyeballing? Who would prefer marking it? Okay, grab a ruler and grab a marker and let's mark it. You can use a friction pen. It really doesn't matter. You could use one of these, a water soluble, but mark it corner to corner. And it doesn't matter if you're off a little bit. It's really not going to make a difference. So go ahead and mark it corner to corner so you have a sew line. And then lay down your next one. Okay. If you want to, because we are going to sew here to here and here to here, mark that too. So let's mark your sew lines. This is what it should look like. And you're not going to see this. If you wanted to do it in Sharpie, you could do it in Sharpie too. Okay. Corner to corner, corner to corner, up and down, left and right. Get your next piece. I don't pre-trim these. I'm not tracing this out on my fabric. I'm going to trim it later with my rotary cutter. So I'm going to put this piece down next. I try to stay away from the end that has the selvage. Okay, I'm going to put this over here. And let's do our next piece. I'm putting that piece at my sewing machine. Let's get our next one and lay it down. Let me get that corner that I pressed. Are some of you just watching? Or you're all ready? Or you already did this? Ellie, did you already do this? You already sound. You're going to just watch? Okay. And just go near the edge. There we go. Smooth it out. And let's go ahead and mark. All right. But literally, I don't mark any of this because it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just a little bow cozy. Nobody's looking at your lines. But if it's going to help you and you feel more comfortable, somebody's here. Good morning, Terry. Thank you for joining us. We are just, okay, that one's done. I'm going to put it next to my machine. So do mark 4 of yours if you're going to do 4 with us. So this is my jelly roll sewn into strips. And I was just saying that I press these all open, but if you're going to stitch in the ditch, so if you want to stitch in the ditch, you want to press your seams all to one side, because what you don't want to do is sew down this line and have your needle hit your threads and then break them and cut them. So I am not doing that. I'm going to be doing crisscross applesauce and up and down and left and right. So I ironed them open because it gets bulky and a little hard to sew through. So I'm going to lay this one down, and your 5 strips, because I think it's 10.5 inches across. Is that what it is? But 5 strips, if you sew 5 strips together, it should be just perfect. And you should be able to get 4. You don't want to leave a lot of space in between. You should be able to do 4 of these, the Bull Cozy batting templates. You should be able to put 4 in with 1 strip, because it's 44 inches and you're going about 10.5 inches. So make sure you economize when you're laying this down. So I'm going to put 2 down here, mark them. So if you are not stitching in the ditch, press your seams open on your jelly rolls. If you are stitching in the ditch to quilt, then press your seams to one side. If you want to use spray adhesive to stick these down, you can. I didn't do that, and they stayed nice and flat. Okay, I'm going to move it up, and I'm going to do 1 more. But I am going to cut this apart because it's going to be easier to sew without them. I'm just going to cut this one. I'll put my next one on. Okay, I'm going to put this by my machine. So let's do 4 of these. So you'll have 2 finished bowl cozies. I made these for my neighbor and haven't even I made them for my neighbor for Christmas and haven't even delivered them yet because I wanted to have them for today. Then they'll get them. Okay. Okay, let's mark these. I think bowl cozies are such a great gift. All right. I'm going to trim this one too. so it'll be easier to work with at my machine. And then I have this for later, and I can do one more bowl cozy with 2 more pieces of batting, and then it becomes my bowl cozy set. All right, here we go. I'm gonna give you a minute just to get all of that marked and ready. I'm just using this right here. So wind a matching bobbin. You want to make sure it's a cotton bobbin, and it doesn't have to be the same color. You just want to make sure that it is going to be cotton. I already put a 90-14 needle in my machine. I'd probably just stitch at a 2.5. I usually do, sometimes I'll do stuff like this at a 2. And as far as your foot, you don't want your 1/4 inch foot right now. Just you could just use your regular sole. I am using my dual feed foot, and you could use an open toe if you want. Either of those will work. I am going to be using my 1/4 inch sole in just a little bit, so hopefully you have a 1/4 inch foot. And if everyone is ready, how are we doing? Are we ready to go? Give me a thumbs up if you're ready. Thank you, Miss Lorraine. Some of you, I can't. Oh, look at, I'm just seeing giant thumbs sticking up. Okay, let's do it. So we are gonna go ahead. I'm just on a straight center stitch. Let me get threaded. I just have some isocord. I'm using isocord, and then I'm gonna be using this variegated, this variegated tootie for some top stitching on the floral. I find with both of these, it pulls out of my needle. So, because it curls, these threads curl. You see how they're not like straight? So sometimes I'll pull my tail a little bit longer, and this looks like it's wrapped around my needle. Let me do it one more time. If it curls and pulls out of your needle, it's not the machine, it's your thread. And like I said, I have a 90-14 needle in here right now. You could do this with an 80-12. And let's go ahead and sew. I would just start a little bit beyond here if you want. And if you want, you can back stitch. I'm just gonna sew. And I'm just gonna sew across that. I'm just gonna sew every line. Now I'm gonna do the next one. Just gonna switch, whoops, cut. If you wanna do a little locking stitch, here I'm gonna do let's turn on my locking stitch. There's my locking stitch. Ladies, if you haven't used it and you're on a baby lock and a lot of the other machines, this one says it's gonna lock forward and back, and that one's gonna lock in place. You just turn it on by hitting that button. If that's highlighted, it's gonna do your locking stitch. And you know what, because we're gonna cut some, I'm gonna just go to the lock in place. It's gonna do 4 stitches in place, and then it's gonna sew. And then you can tell it to lock in the end by hitting the matching stitch right here. How come that? Oh, you know what? My thing wasn't on. Okay, do your diagonal. So all 4 pieces, I just want you to go ahead and sew that. I did do some where I stitched in the ditch on some of my jelly rolls, but I am not doing it for this. There's my locking stitch. If you don't perfectly stay on that line, don't worry about it. I need to change my angle so I can see. There we go. Doing a locking stitch there. Oh, and you can do cut after lock. If you hit this button and it's highlighted, it will cut your fabric too. You don't have to hit the cut button. Let's do this one. And then it's cutting and lifting the foot. Done. Okay, Do all 4 of those that we've marked. Mine's just cream, so I'm just gonna grab whichever one. Or you can just do it manually, like your stitch manually. I'm just turning and doing all of these. Next. Last one is this one. Okay, this one's done. If you're just using a regular foot and it's pushing your fabric, then if you have a walking foot, put your walking foot on. You want those layers to all stay together. The walking foot does that. It feeds your top fabric while the feed dogs grab your lower fabric. Okay, so we have this like quilting stitch going right through, just holding all your layers together. And here's my last piece. I'm kind of an assembly line worker. I like to go through and do like all of this first, and then, you know, the next step on all my pieces next. Okay, and after we do this, we are going to trim our fabric. So we're just going to do that with our cutting mat and a rotary cutter.
Jeannie, did you do that corner to corner and side to side?
Yeah, so I'm going from, hang on, let me let somebody in. I'm going from here to here, and then I'm going corner to corner, corner to corner. So you should have 1, 2, 3, 4 stitch lines, 4 quilting stitch lines to put your batting with your fabric. And if you're doing jelly, you know, these jelly rolls. So when I did the ones that I gave away, I did stitch in the ditch. I went, I picked, I picked whatever color was going to match the best. And with these, I just did did I do a cream, I think? And I just stitched in the ditch. This is going to be a lot faster if you just do this. Up to you. Whatever you're in the mood for. Hang on, let me tighten this so it doesn't spring up. Is that Miss Sheila? think that's the voice I hear. Sometimes this thread sprung up on me, so I go slow with that, just because I find if I go a little slower, it doesn't always pull out.
Yes, Jeannie, that was me.
Hi, Miss Sheila. Good morning. And this is all done. So now we're going to go ahead and trim this. You don't have to trim it beforehand. I think that's just creating another step. Do you do the stitch in the ditch instead of the cross? When I do the stitch in the ditch here, yes. Then I'm not doing, when I'm doing the stitch in the ditch here, I'm just stitching in the ditch the whole way. And I don't do the cross too, just stitch in the ditch only. But you could, I mean, you could do the cross as well. Totally up to you. I'm gonna come over here. Let me move this out of the way. Here's my little cutting mat. Oh, look how convenient this is. Now I have not only a bowl cozy, but I have an accessory holder. Isn't that nice, ladies? So it could be whatever you want it to be. And move this. I don't know if you've ever been super tired and you start cutting on your ironing mat, or you start ironing on your cutting mat. I don't know if that's ever happened to you ladies, but happened to me. Once you're done, just take your time and just rotary cut around the edge. Don't cut your little dip here. That's just adding another step. So after I do that, I just go ahead and I rotary cut around my edge, and it doesn't have to be perfect. This is why I don't pre-cut it, because now you have a line drawn for you, or you have your batting that you can just go around. So I want you to take all 4 of the ones that we just put the batting on. I know I think I told you we were going to do one, and I was like, what? We can do more, because I did want to do one that was jelly roll. And I just kind of hold my my batting down as I go around. And if you decide you want to make more of these, there's the large bowl, there is the small bowl, there is a casserole. I think there's like a casserole holder that you could do. That's kind of like this. There's plate cozies too. Did you know that? That there's patterns for plate cozies. And I'll create a code for this class, and I'll put them all up at, should we do a special little deal? I'll put them all up at, we'll do them at, let's just do them at 25% off. That being said, I have like, I think I only have like 1 pack of bowl cozy batting left in the store. So just know you might have to wait just a little bit for that. I ordered more. And if you don't like this and you want to pre-cut it beforehand, you can do that. You don't have to do it the way I'm doing it. I just think it's the easiest and most accurate and the most time efficient. Now you don't have to worry about your fabric being matched up perfectly as you're sewing them together. Okay, that one's done too. Where to put my other ones? There they are. We're going to 1/4 inch after this. So if you're all done, grab your 1/4 inch foot. I don't want to lose anyone either. So if you feel like you're falling behind, let me know. I can always catch you up. I want my ladies to have fun. And falling behind's not always fun. So just say, oh, I need a little more help. What did you do? If you need me to show you something.
You just cut a lot faster. That's all.
Oh, am I cutting fast? Okay. Take your time, ladies.
Jeannie, I have a question. It's Debbie.
Yeah.
I noticed on your walking foot, you have a 1/4-inch foot for that. Is that something that came with the machine?
It did not. The only one that came with the machine is going to be this one. This one right here. So that came with the machine, but you can get the 1/4-inch, which I love. I gotta be honest, ladies, I use my walking foot for almost everything. The only time I use the regular shank is when there's an accessory foot that doesn't clip on. So the only ones that are gonna clip on to your dual feet are gonna be the 1/4-inch, the open toe, and I don't know where it is. I brought it to the store and left it there, but there's a stitch in the ditch. That's going to look like this with a center flange. And these are nice because they have a big hole right here. So if you want to get a scant 1/4-inch and you want to move it all the way over to the right and get really scant, so you have some give here instead of just that tiny, tiny little hole in the regular 1/4-inch foot that came with the machine. And then you have that flange that you're going to use as your guide, which I really love. And then if you send me a note, I'll give you a cost discount on those soles if you want. So just send me a note. Remind me.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Jeannie, this is Becky. I've
Hi,
never
Becky.
ever I've never ever used a walking foot. So they're used for thicker fabrics. Is that what it's for?
So the walking foot, it's used for layers. So if you look at your sewing machine, you've got your feed dogs, which pulls the fabric and advances it from the bottom. But sometimes that top layer doesn't move with it. So, you know, you could get some shifting or it can move around. The walking foot, this one has a belt on the top, which gives you control on the top and the bottom. So it is grabbing it from the top and the bottom and moving both layers at the same time.
Oh,
So a
interesting.
walking foot is fantastic to have.
Okay, I might have to get one. Thank you.
Yeah, and Becky, you can, I think, I can't remember. I think the walking foot I have, you can get that. Does it work with your machine? If not, I have probably 3 different types in the store. I have
Okay.
like a basic one, and then there's several other ones that you can get.
Okay, I know you'll hook me up. So thank you.
I will hook you up, girlfriend. You just come see me.
I always love seeing you.
All right, so I'm going to trim this last one. I have an action-packed day today. After this, I'm doing a cooking group with my girlfriends, and we're going to make Vietnamese spring rolls, and I call it cooking in bulk. So I think we'll end up making like 20 pounds of spring rolls. That way we just do it once and you just freeze it and then we can eat it later on. Because my poor kids go, remember when mom used to cook so much? We ate all that good food. Because I used to cook so much before I started working. And then I just tell them, be quiet and eat your takeout.
Sounds like another assembly line you have.
Yeah, I assembly line everything. Because it's so hard to go out and get all the ingredients and like, you know, so it's kind of nice to just buy a ton of it and make. Then I have a group of girlfriends. We used to meet every other week and we called it cooking in bulk, and somebody would buy all the food and then and it was so nice. It's like sewing. It's like sewing for me, getting together with your girlfriends and sewing and catching up and talking. So we would do that. And whoever chose the meal, we'd make it like everyone would have a big meal for their family. And we cook together. So ladies, this is what you should have when you're done. And what we're going to do next is we are going to sew these together. And if you want, I don't even clip them. I do them as I go, but I look from above just to make sure my batting corner, like that little corner of batting, is matching. I am going to put my, and why don't I show you on a side that has like a dark contrast fabric. So I'll look from above and just make sure, you just want to make sure it's not offset, that it's like this. That's not going to work. Your batting should be, that little corner should be matching. And I'm just going to take it to my machine just like this. I'm going to put my 1/4 inch foot on. I'm going to put my guide right here and I'm going to sew 1/4 inch. I'm going to lock my stitch here and here. So I'm going to take, if you're still trimming your fabric, just keep trimming your fabric. Don't worry about it. But I'm going to take this over to my machine. I'm going to grab my 1/4 inch sole. Who needs more time? Who's trimming? Anyone ready to sew? We have some thumbs up. There's always going to be someone who's a little bit behind. There's always going to be somebody that's a little bit above, ahead. I kind of like to stay in that sweet spot where I'm in the middle. It's just kind of how it works with a group. We have some ladies that are super, super speedy and some that aren't. If you don't want to use this foot, you can use the regular sole. If you don't have it, you have markings on these feet that show your 1/4 inch. You could use your J foot with the right stitch, but you're going to have, like on this foot, this is my 1/4 inch mark right here. It's a 1/4 inch from that center where my needle is going to be to that line. So, you know, you have, oh, look at, this isn't even my foot. This goes to the store. So we have a 1/4 inch mark over here. So you can use those if you want. I love a flange. The flange to me makes my life easier. So I'm just going to go center stitch. I'm going to look from above and just make sure my batting is lined up, that corner of my batting. And I'm going to go right here. You want to just be at an angle. That flange is going to go right next to the batting edge. That's 1/4 inch. And go ahead and sew. And I am going to lock that because it does come undone. It does come away. And you're not supposed to, so with the dual feed, don't do a lot of back stitching, but if you just want to lock the stitch, that's fine to do that. And off and back on. And that's it. We're just going to go around the whole thing and do that. So here's my 1/4 inch. We'll cut all of these off when we're done with all of these. And I usually go across this one and then I'll do this one and then I'll do the other set. So I'm going to look at this from above. Just make sure this is lined up. Is that lined up? And go right. There we go. That looks good. And then lay it down, 1/4 inch it. Make sure this too, you're at this point that you're pinching here and that's not looking wonky. Now I'm going to do this set. Are these fun, ladies? Ladies, you don't even, I love these because I feel like once you get in the mode and you've done one, you don't have to think. You can just turn on the TV, watch your favorite show. I don't know if anyone's watching Yellowstone. I really want to watch it, but where do people watch that show? I haven't watched it yet. Do you have to get a subscription to something? Put on your favorite podcast. Talk with your girlfriends. I'm going to do this one next. Match those up. And if you want to throw a pin in or a wonder clip, you can, but you don't have to. I know some of you are addicted to pinning. I'm addicted to not pinning. Okay, that's what you're gonna do. So all 4 of these. Go ahead and do that on all of them. And then we're gonna trim. If you're ahead of me, if you're just doing one cozy, once you're done with this, with what I just did, you can just come over here. If you wanna use a ruler, you can use a ruler, but I just cut. And even if you cut off a little bit of that batting, it's fine. I just go just like that. And you're just gonna cut that off because you have a little edge here. You have a little guide, you're batting. And you're gonna walk through all of these. And so you should be cutting 4 of these off. And it should look just like that when you're done. All right. So let's go ahead and do the other ones. Repetition's the mother of learning. That looks good. Kind of match up your other stuff. Check it one more time. I feel like I need to scoot this over the tiniest bit. There we go. I'm just doing a manual lock. That's me doing it, not the machine. Match it here, match it over here so it's nice and round. Check it one more time and stitch it up. Oop. Looks good. So it's such a good way to use up all your scraps. You have like a fat quarter pack and you have like a couple of pieces left over, or jelly roll, or just anything. Make it into a bowl cozy. And I'm done on this one. You can always check and make sure that the back caught, but it should look good. And even if you were close to the edge, that's okay. Don't worry about it. As long as you catch some of it, you're going to be good, because we're going to sew it together with the other piece and we're going to be top stitching. So everything will be held there. All right, let's grab the next one. Match it. Make sure the round corners are matched too. Am I doing this super fast too? How you ladies doing? Are we all keeping up?
If you could pause for just in between a little bit, that'd be helpful for me.
Sure, I can do that. And when you say pause in between the like onto the next step. And you know, when I go to, because I'm going to wonder clip these together. When I go to do that, if you're a little behind, it's okay, because there's 2 of them. So you'll catch it on the next one as well. Was that you, Miss Irene?
Yes, it was.
Good morning.
I was trying to assembly line them and then I gave up on that and decided to just do one at a time.
Yes,
So,
and you can do one at a time too. If I'm going fast, just get one done.
okay, thanks.
Yeah,
Have
just
some-
focus on doing one.
Take a drink of your coffee.
What was that?
Take a drink of your coffee in between.
Is it coffee time? Here's my beautiful latte. Let's
That
have a
might
sip.
make her go faster.
That's true. But remember, I'm only taking 6. Patrick's like, I was so mad at him the other day because when I got home, brought my coffee home, the same coffee that I took in the morning with me to the store. And then I'm still drinking it. I look and it's gone. And I see my cup in the sink. I'm like, did you throw away my latte? And he's like, yeah, I thought you were done. I go, you know, I drink it all day. So now he knows better. Okay, I'm done with 3.
Jeannie,
Yes.
this is CJ, and for some reason, I'm having a problem that I don't usually have, and that's when I cut my thread, it comes unthreaded.
Okay, so what thread are you using?
I'm using a 50 weight cotton, and I'm using the pre-wound 50 weight bobbin.
Is your cotton, is it a little bit curly? Because see how these curl? The thread is curly.
Yep.
That's it. So it has nothing to do with your machine. Don't worry about your machine. Your machine's not broken. It's your thread. And because it curls, it tends to, when you go to sew again, it's when the needle goes down, it might pull out of your needle. So just grab your thread, and I know it's a pain, but you might have to just pull it a little bit longer and just know that it's the thread.
I wonder if I have the 10 spool on the luminaire, and I wonder if I put it on the horizontal. Do you think that might make a difference?
I am on my horizontal. So
Okay.
I am
Try
not
that.
sure. Well, but somebody else have a comment? We Sharon? Yeah, if anyone else has a suggestion, I find that if I'm using my Isacord or if I'm using my cotton and it's curly, it pulls out.
Okay.
And so I don't know. I'm amazed that mine hasn't pulled out today because I had the same thing going on last time. I do not know why it is not. It's because we're doing this together. So it's behaving for me. I'm going to be waiting for Jeannie because she's being filmed. But yeah, it's because it's curly.
Okay. And when you use the horizontal, do you have the thread coming off the top or the bottom?
So you want the thread feeding from the underside, but that being said, sometimes the way it's wound, it does feed off the other direction. And I don't like putting my thread with the fat end on the left side. I do have my little thread holder in there, just holding it back too. So yeah, if you've never used this, ladies, that's what that's for. So when I'm using Isacord or something where it fits in there, I do put it in there. Mine is feeding off the top right now, just because there's no other way for it to feed.
Okay, thank you.
But you're going to just have to give it a little tug right when you start, just to make it a little bit longer. Am I done with this one? I can't remember where I'm at. I can't see. Let's see. I think this is where I'm at. So just do this. So if it's a little short, grab it right now, give it a little tug, put your next piece under. And then whenever I'm doing this and that's happening with my thread, sometimes I forget and then I have to rethread it. But if you can remember, just right when you take your fabric out, just give it a little pull. So curly thread, that is coming out, cut. Move your thread out of the way, grab that tail, give it a little tug. On to the next. I'm almost done with these. And if you're not done, just do one. Don't worry about assembly lining. Just do one for right now, because you'll know what to do for the next one. I do clip once I'm putting these all together. So hopefully you have some wonder clips. If you have pins and you want to use pins, you can use pins, but I'm going to be wonder clipping. I'm going to sew this last one. And ladies, if you haven't done all 4 of these, don't worry about it. Just focus on one set and getting one bowl cozy done in our little sew along. Okay, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to trim all of the excess the little pleat part. I'm going to cut them all off right now. So I just go like this. If you don't trust yourself, if you're a cutter and you do this, use your ruler. Just grab a little ruler. I'm so many. If you don't trust yourself, just grab your ruler, lay that down. Who feels better with a ruler in hand? You like that? Make you, oh yeah, grab your ruler. Don't eyeball it then. Know your limitations, ladies. Okay, that one's already done. Heat up your iron too. Go ahead and heat up your iron because we are gonna press, we're gonna press this center part open. I am all about perfection when I'm doing certain things, but not bowl cozies. So if this is a little bit more than a 1/4 inch, a little bit less, you want to be pretty accurate because you have to sew the top to the bottom. So, and that should be your 4 pieces that will become one. I'm going to get rid of this. If you are not done with that, but you're done with at least 2 of them, you're going to take those and open it up so it's going to be the batting side. So it's like a bowl with the batting side up. And you want to go ahead and just open up, and it'll just help you to sew them together if this is open. If you're doing 2 of these and they're both to the same side and you try and sew it, it is going to get super, super thick. I do shoot this with a little bit of best press because I want it to stay open. And I'm just gonna go ahead and press it right to that little peak. And I'm gonna go around the whole thing and I'm gonna press all of those open. And your goal, ladies, is to just get 2 of these done right now. I mean, 1 and 1. So pick a matching pair. Because if you can get one whole bow cozy done, you can do the other one later. Be careful. Sometimes this gets pushed back a little bit. Try not to push that batting back. And let's go on.
Jeannie, what did you mean by don't let the batting push back? What would I missed
You're going to
that?
see it at some point. This is going to go back a little bit and get ironed down like that with a little
Oh.
crease.
Oh,
So
okay.
just try
Thank
to
you.
keep that flat, that you're not pushing the batting back and it gets distorted and ironed back. If it does, if you look down and it's ironed back like this, just take your finger and press it back. Good question, Irene. if you don't have this iron that I'm using, oh, see, look, it happened. Just make sure it doesn't stay like that. One done. Put it to the side, do your next. Make sure you're doing a set. So if you don't get this all done, you can do one of them with this. Kind of just lay it down like this, and then I press. And then I check and make sure. For those of you that don't know me, I'm an aggressive presser, ironer. It's probably not a good thing. Any shoulder injury I end up with in my lifetime will be from ironing and pressing. And that best press is just going to make it lay flatter when we go to sew it all together. If you are not a best press girl, you should be. I'd be in my top 5 things in my sewing room that I can't live without. Yeah, I see somebody else. Was that Debbie? She's a best press girl. That's one of those things when I started sewing with people, because, you know, sometimes when in the beginning you just teach yourself everything, and they taught me about best press. It changed my life, my sewing life, that is. I was like, where have you been my whole life, best press?
Jeannie, have you ever done these with the adding binding instead of the flip and fold?
Oh, that sounds gorgeous, Sheila. That sounds gorgeous. No, I've never done it with the binding, but that sounds absolutely beautiful. You know, I was thinking about bringing into the store. Grunge sells. I know some of you ladies hear the word grunge and you're like, oh my God, I love grunge. So they sell pre-made binding, and I think can't remember if it's 2.5 inches or 2.25 inches. It's bias binding too. So if you were doing a project like this, you wouldn't even have to make your own binding. Is that something you guys would be interested in? Anyone? Give me a thumbs up if you, okay, I'm getting it. Because I hate making bias binding. I don't know why, I just don't like cutting my 45. But I love bias binding, because, you know, if you're going around the something round, you need to cut on the bias. I'm going to order that today. Get some of that. Because then you could use they have a cream and they have like a red, and you could have just used that. Because I bought some pre-made, is it right? WRIGHT. I made some and it was so beautiful, and then I didn't have the right color. So I used some pre-made and it just didn't look as pretty. Is that what you do, Sheila? Do you just use bias binding?
Yeah, I like to make a lot of it.
Yeah.
I love to make it from striped fabric, because then it comes out at an angle and it looks twisted. It's really cool.
Oh. Yeah, so you just cut with a fabric?
Yep.
Instead of the 45? And you use it to go around curves?
No, I cut it with the 45, and that'll give it the spiral.
Oh, okay. Okay, got it. I see what you're saying. Okay, hopefully you were able to at least press one set, meaning 2 pieces that are going to go together. Because look how cute this is. This with this. So cute. So I'm just gonna do this one right here. This set right here. Where are we at, ladies? Do we at least have one set that we can sew together? Give me a thumbs up if you got it. Anna's got hers. Hold your sets up because I want to see them. Look at that. You're using batik. Was that batik jelly roll? All right. So I'm seeing sets. Not everyone has a set. I can wait. I'll have some coffee. Do you want me to go sip my coffee? Do we have a set?
If you could just give me 2 more seconds.
Okay. If you need 2 more seconds, this is a nice, Anna, I'm going to spotlight Anna because this is a pattern I got in the store and we'd love to do it as a class. If you are a Shabby Fabric fan, I'm going to add a spotlight. Isn't it cute? So you can buy a pattern where it's thread work or you can do, so is it,
I love it.
Anna, is that Bird Brain? I forget who makes that pattern.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's-
bird brain.
It's Bird Brain.
It
So
is.
Anna, will you hold it up again? So
Beautiful.
the ladies can see it. Where's your little diamond strip too? Oh, Anna, it is cute. It is really, really cute. I have that pattern in the store, so we'll do it as a daily deal. But Bird Brain used to just have their patterns used to just be just hand stitching only. And now a lot of their patterns, they're doing it as a machine embroidery. So you can buy the machine embroidery or you can buy the hand stitching. So we want right sides together. And I'm just going to wait for you, Miss Irene. You just give me a shout out when you're ready.
Hey, Jeannie.
Yeah.
Hey, Lois from Oregon.
Hey, what's going on, Miss Lois?
Not much. I just wondered, you started talking about your iron. Could you tell me
Yes.
more about it?
So if you don't have this iron, ladies, this is the Panasonic 360. 360. Things that are fantastic about it. Number one, the size. So if you were embroidering, this will actually fit into your 5x7 hoop. It's nice because it has the pointed end here and it has the pointed end here and it's cordless. And I just love it. I just absolutely love this iron. So it's never going to replace a corded iron. So when I am really getting down and dirty with my ironing, I have an Oliso that's corded and I use that. But for the most part, this is where I press an iron right next to my machine. And so I just have it set up right here. You can put water in it. So you can put water in it and use steam. It's really dirty. Oh, that's really embarrassing. Sorry, don't look at this. Look away. Oh, look, I'm not even on the camera, so you can't see it. But and then it has a cover. So it has if you want to take it to class, it has a plastic cover with a handle. So you can take it just like this and bring it to your class. And this is a retractable cord. So you can just pull this out and then it pulls in. So what else can I say? It is just the best iron ever.
Thank you.
You
I'm caught
welcome.
up, Jeannie.
What was that? You ready?
Uh-huh.
Okay, let's go on over to the machine. We're gonna come over here.
Were we clipping something
We
together?
are gonna clip, and I'll clip it over here. Let me turn my light back on. Let me have a little sip of coffee. And here are my Wonder Clips. So I do like to clip it at this point. And I am going to start when we sew. This is my straightest point right here. So that's where I'm going to turn it inside out and I'm going to start sewing over here. But you want to match this up. So match up your seams. Ooh, I am sorry, Linda. I don't know why you got an email saying it started at 11. Let me go ahead and put this here. And I'm just going to clip around. And I'll just take that one out. So just go ahead and put your clips in. I don't like to pin this stuff because it's kind of bulky and I feel like it shifts my fabric. Linda, there'll be a recording of this too, so I'll send it to you as well. Whoop. I don't know if that had something with the, did I put did I send an email saying 11 to noon? Was that me?
No, you said 10 to 11.
I think it's worth it to clip it. Just keep all your layers together. Check that down in. Check, make sure that seam's lined up. And just remember, it is a bowl cozy. If you're off a little bit. I find that if I'm using my dual feed, the first clip, like, you know, over here gets caught under that dual feed. So we might have to pull some out as we're sewing because that dual feed sits low. All right. And clip, don't worry if you're still clipping, clip. I'm going to check my thread because I'm not going to use this thread. So if you need to wind up bobbin, I want it to be really pretty. So I thought this thread was so pretty with the pink and the yellow. So, and I have a matching bobbin, and that's really for the top stitching. I mean, what we're doing right now, we're just going to sew it together. You're not going to see it, but I'm going to go ahead and put this in right now. And I'll need a minute to find that bobbin cover that I lost just now. So let me go ahead. And ladies, when you take your thread out, make sure that you do not grab it here and pull back. I do not cut it here and pull to the bottom, but I do unthread it to right here. And once it's out there, it just falls right out. There's nothing here. Tension disc right here that you don't want to pull it back on. I'm going to go ahead and thread in. This one, oh, you know what? I don't know why I didn't think of this, CJ. This comes off. So I could have put it on the other way. I just wasn't thinking about it. I was forgetting. So if you are using Aurifil, you know, your base comes off. So you can put it in there. So it feeds from the underside. It should always feed from the underside. And some of you have pictures on your machine over on the right-hand side that shows that to remind you, but it should feed like that. I think I forgot that it comes off. I'm going to put it back on there. This one doesn't have that, so I can put it on there. So it feeds from the underside. I don't know if this might be too small. I'm just going to leave it without a spool cap. If I do put if it is pulling and I do put a spool cap on, I'm going to use the smallest one, but it's just feeding off.
I was able to get it to work okay. I'm using Wonderfill, so I didn't have, you know, I could turn it either way.
Okay.
Thank you. No, it worked.
Are we all clipped and ready to go, my ladies? Let me change my view up here so I can see you. Gallery. There we go.
Are we gonna do a 1/4 of an inch around again?
Yeah, 1/4 of an inch. So you can leave this on here if you want. I take this off when I'm top stitching because I like to top stitch about 1/8 of an inch, but you could go ahead and leave that 1/4 inch flange on there. And if you're ready, we all clipped and ready to go. Give me a thumbs up. I see some thumbs up. I see some of you, I can't see you and I just see your thumb just sticking up in the air. Oh, look at that. Okay. I like to leave an opening because it's harder to turn it and then get this to lay flat where you want to around a curve. And these are smaller. I think it's much easier on the bigger ones. I don't know what it is about the bigger ones, but even sewing the seam right here is easier on the bigger ones. We're going to leave it open right here. We're not going to leave it open much. It's going to be like birthing the baby through that little hole. You are going to have to take this one out. You might have to take this one out if it doesn't fit under there, but I am going to take these out. And I want you to start right about here and do a little back stitch. We're going to do a 1/4 inch all the way around. Take your time, pull those clips as you go. And if this one is in the way, you might have to pull him too. He's getting stuck under the tail end of my dual feed. And I'm at a 2.5. I'm just going to leave it there because I want it to, or you could go to a 3.0 stitch if you want. And you're just going to stitch around this. Take your time. Back stitch right there, because when we go to turn it inside out, that stitch wants to pop. Just turn your fabric. You're going to rotate it with your hand as you go around this corner. And when we get here, when your needle's right there in the seam, and I have mine set up right now with my auto pivot on. So this is your automatic lifter. That way you don't have to lift the foot manually when we get to that little seam. If you have that feature, it shows the needle down and the foot hovering. Turn that on. I don't like that on when I'm going around like when I'm doing a lot of flat sewing where I want it to hold. I want the foot to hold the fabric down. Okay, this is why I have a stiletto too on your list. Or I like to use this right here, which is the Clover point turner, press and turn. I love this one because your foot might want to push this fabric here back like that. So I'm going to get it close. And that'll hold it down. And I'm just, see it's pushing it. And if it does push it, that's okay. But I'm going to go 1 stitch into that right there. So I'm right in the seam line, and then I can just pivot it because my auto pivot's on. So if you need that to kind of push the fabric down, just going around this corner, you're going to help just by turning your fabric as you go around that corner. And take your time. You're like, but I have to sew fast to keep up with Jeanne. Take your time. And pull this one. I just need to give him a little push under there. You know what? I'm 1 stitch past. I'm going to go back. I think I was using my open toe in that stiletto or the point turner because that fabric was getting pushed back. This is what you use in place of your finger. If you've ever gotten a needle through the finger, you should be using something like this just to push all your fabric back. It gets pushed a little bit. I need 1 more stitch. Here we go. Turn my fabric a little bit right at that, where that seam is. How are you doing, ladies? You doing okay? Okay, I'm coming back to where I started. I'm just going to go right to that little seam, and I am going to backstitch so that seam doesn't bust when we're turning it inside out, because we're going to be pushing a lot of fabric through this little space right here. I'm just gonna go. If you need to push them down. I'm gonna back stitch, cut. And you don't even have to clip into these corners. Don't worry about that. And you should have something that looks like this with a little opening. I find this is the best place. Don't leave your opening around one of these curves because it's just going to be hard to get your fabric to curve like that to do the top stitching. And once you have that done, turn it inside out right through this little opening. Take your time. If you pop a seam, it's okay. If you pop one of those stitches where you start or finish, it's okay. Don't worry, that might happen. It's not a lot of room here. You have a lot of fabric you're pushing through. And then we are going to top stitch it. I'm going to use my open toe to top stitch it.
Do we iron it before we top stitch?
Yeah, absolutely. You want to press it, press it. But what I would do is if you have something like this, we are going to push that seam. We're going to push the curve. But yes, if you want to iron it, iron it. I didn't iron any of mine. Alrighty. And then this is going to be, I think I'm going to make this my inside and the gingham's going to be my outside. So I don't top stitch, but I'm going to take this edge right here and push it in that, find that hole. Here we are. And I like to kind of push it out. So I'm just pushing this rounded edge. If you want to press first, heat up your iron. Just a second. And sometimes I'll just take my fingers and kind of roll it so that the seam is going to be right near the edge, especially right here. Like right where it has a little dip. I like to top stitch it this way so that I come around to this at the very end. And just doing it on the straightaway is going to make it easier to make a match. So just make sure you don't leave that opening on a curve. So I am going to top stitch it this way, but I'll turn it the other way when I'm done. All right. I'm going to go ahead. Are we turned inside out? How'd we do? We ready to do our top stitching? We pressing? I'm going to put, look how kinky and short my little tail is. I'm going to pull them a little bit longer. I like to use this foot. You know how you just find a foot and the way it just fits the task at hand, and you can see how thick it gets right here. And that's why you're going to need that heavier needle, even though we have that pressed open, it's just thick. What I like about this foot is I find that if I line the edge of, and not that that's the purpose, but if I line this edge right up with this part right here, it's about 1/8 of an inch, just how I like my top stitching. So, and then you might use a different foot that just works for you. I'm just going to start right here on the straightaway. And I'm going to back stitch. So I'm just going to keep the edge lined up with this. If you don't have this foot and you have a different foot, I mean, this foot right here, you could line up right here with that mark, or you could use your guideline markers if you have that, but whatever works for you. If you want to move your needle to a certain position, but I'm literally just lining this up right here with the metal of my foot on this open toe. Right? I'm going to sew right. One more stitch in, and I'm going to pivot. I'm going to turn a little bit, and then I'm going to go right. That's here. If your needle breaks, this is where it's going to happen. Okay, I'm just going to kind of pull this out. I'm going to go around this corner.
These bow cozies are so much better. I made some that I had to cut the darts and do all that, and this is so much better.
What do you like about it? Just that the
It's
batting
just
that is it
yeah,
just
so I used the batting. It just made it really easy. Everything matched up really nicely, and I liked that I used my scraps. It's been a fun project. I want to make some with football teams for the big game that's coming up.
oh, that would be so much fun. And I just take my time when I'm doing my top stitching. Oh, I'm coming to my seam. So when you are coming around to it, I'm just going to just take this side and just roll it a little bit, and take this side and roll it a little bit. I'm just going to roll this to the edge and just finesse it so that it looks good. And that looks good. So you're just going to play with it and just make sure it's laying nice and flat. If you want to put a clip in there to kind of hold it into place, I didn't at all. And it looked pretty good. They're not perfect. I don't think anyone's going to look and try and find where my opening is. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this, kind of hold it in place. I'm there. I'm going to pivot. My auto lift is lifting my foot for me. If you feel like you need to ease it a little bit, what you don't want to do is you don't want to push and pull too much, because that's something that can knock your machine out of time. And I'm telling you, just using that 9014 needle or that 116 needle, if you have a little breakage, is going to make your life so much easier. And if your needle breaks, that just might be part of the bowl cozy experience. It's okay. Oops. Whoops. Sorry, ladies. Hit my phone out. Knocked it out. Get it back in. And I am coming around to where I started. And I go ahead. Sometimes when it's thick, you might break your thread too. I've broken my thread. Just re-thread. Coming around my corner. This thread got sewn in. I'm just going to pull them out. And then you go get your 16-year-old daughter. You give her a stack of the bowl cozies and you say, please trim my threads. How can you see in this room without any light? But they seem to be able to. But I remember being a kid and my mom being like, I don't know how you can see in here. You're like, I don't know how you can't see in here as a teenager. And now I'm that mom that can't see in low light. And you can just trim all these threads. But I usually will make a whole stack of them and I just bring them to Violet. I say, will you please trim these for mommy? She doesn't mind doing that for me, so. And then you could choose, are you feeling a little gingham today? That can be the size that you see the most of. Are you feeling a little floral? But I just think wasn't that fun, ladies? And we are done. Look how cute that top stitching is with that. I don't even know if you can see it with that variegated thread, but it's so pretty. And there's your bowl cozy. So I hope if you got the batting, you now know how to use it. And oh, look at that. Very cute. Hold up your bowl cozy if you finish. Becky, that's adorable. Miss Debbie, I'm going to spotlight you ladies. Let me spotlight. Okay, here is a spotlight for Miss Debbie. Very cute. Let's see the inside. Adorable. Now you'll protect your hands. Miss Becky's got one to show us. Let's see. Spotlight. There she is. Oh, she's gone now. Remove spotlight. Cute. Use it. Did you use a jelly roll for that? CJ's got hers. Let's see. Add spotlight. Let's see it, Miss CJ. I'm gonna take
They look
this
really
one.
nice, everybody.
Yeah, that's adorable. Oh, what is that coffee? Perfect. It's perfect for the kitchen. Yeah, they're adorable, ladies. Well, thanks for joining. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to be doing a lot of sew-alongs like this. They're just going to be free sew-alongs for projects. I just like when there's a lot of people that have purchased certain stuff. I'm like, oh, let's just go ahead and let's sew it together. It'll get you using it because sometimes you're not. And I'm going to be doing a sew-along. The next one I'm going to do is going to be on the 24th, and it is going to be it's Summer Glory. And I think what I'm going to do is this not on the right thing? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a little bit early for the ladies on the multi-needles because I have a lot of you. So I'll send you a note, but maybe we'll start half an hour early, or maybe we'll start and we'll do the multi-needle ladies an hour early, and then we'll start the ladies that are going to be on their sit downs. So I will send you more information on that. That is going to be on the 24th. And then there's a lot of you that have gotten Lucky Us. I think I'll have those kits ready for you on Tuesday, and we'll start Lucky Us probably next week sometime too. And those are going to all be free sew-along. So if you haven't gotten the project yet, get the project, because isn't it fun for us to just all get together and sew together and chat? So have a great day. I hope you enjoyed the project and you have a wonderful bow cozy. Does anyone have any questions before I sign off?
Just thank you.
Thanks for joining me, ladies. Have a wonderful Sunday, and I will
Thanks,
see you
Jeannie.
later. Yeah,
Thanks,
you're welcome.
Jeannie.
Bye,
Thank
ladies.
you.
Bye.
Always fun.